Welcome to the Dance Party 24/7 podcast. I'm the DJ T, DJ Envy, and DJ Wongi. Today we're going to talk about how the pandemic is affecting club life and nightlife.
Right, welcome everyone. And basically what had happened was I was sitting on Facebook this morning and I come across an article from a DJ called Slipmatt. And it was basically about getting clubs open again safely and basically testing on the way into a venue, being a club or a DJ bar, whatever the case is. So the way the system works is you kind of walk through, you know, like a metal detector. It's like it goes up, doesn't it? And then it comes across like that. It's like a oblong type shape. When you walk through, it sprays you with like this disinfectant stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't damage your clothes. It doesn't irritate your skin or anything like that. And then you go through. So you go through, you get sprayed, you go through, they take your temperature. Now, this is the bit, the next bit is the bit that I'm very impressed with, and I think the government on a whole need to jump on this because they're wasting huge amounts of money on long, expensive tests. So once you've been sprayed, you have your temperature taken, and then you go through to the third stage. What they do a swab, a nasal swab and a throat swab, and they give you a test result within less than 3 minutes for a positive or negative COVID result. Now, in my opinion, there's no reason why this can't be rolled out across the board. If a club wishes to open and not have to have social distancing, because if no one's infected, why do you need to social distance?
Yeah.
This is the whole point of this, and this has all been approved by the EU and all sorts of people. It's all certificated. So for me, this would be the way forward into getting clubs open. I will add to that, and I think this should be done in schools. When you go to into school, you go through the spray. Not necessarily have a COVID test, because you wouldn't be able to do that every day. The cost would be astronomical, wouldn't it? But to go through the spray machines on the way into school, still wear your mask in school. On the way out, you get sprayed again. I just think that is the way forward until they can find a vaccine or a cure. I will hyphenate that just a little bit because we can't even cure the common cold. So we ain't really got much chance of curing COVID, have we?
They're all the same. Cold, flu, and COVID-19 are all forms of a COVID. Yeah. Yes.
So how are we going to get a cure or a vaccine that actually works? We're not, are we? We got, I think you have to be honest, and I think this is going to be around for years to come. It's not going to be next year we're going to be up and running normally. It ain't going to be the year after, unless they implicate this sort of... I'm not saying this is the best system. I'm not saying that. But this would get venues open because the government issued a statement, was it 2 days ago, T? It was about 2 or 3 days ago that the Chancellor issued a statement that he will not be supporting DJs or entertainment venues. Not pubs. Pubs are excluded because they were supporting them, but they're not going to be supporting clubs, DJ bars, or anything basically where you have a proper DJ. They're not supporting that.
Yeah, not that part of the arts
industry.
Forms.
No.
So. If I have been given permission, you will now see DJ Slipmatt's video. If you're not seeing the video, then I haven't, by the time this has gone live, actually heard back from him, and we will try and link the video below.
Because there was a video that's been around on Facebook for yesterday maybe, in regards to what Wales have done. Now, has anyone seen that?
Well, what I would say is that, going back to what you said about the Chancellor, basically saying there's no funding, and also in an interview made the remark of those that are in the night club industry would need to retrain. That includes everyone. That includes obviously your toilet janitors, your doorman. Everybody would have to totally retrain because that's your industry, not just the DJs. Your industry is not there.
Yeah, everything's gone, isn't it?
Bar staff, the lot. So that's not really feasible for many people, especially. But it depends where you are in your career, whether you're at the beginning, middle, or end of your career. And we have touched on this before in terms of there will be opportunities, but what will happen is that the scene will go totally underground, in my opinion. We're totally underground. It'll be back in the 1990s where you have your illegal raves. There'll be no social distancing. There'll be no tax paid to the government because it won't be, obviously, monies won't be able to be traced because obviously people paying, and obviously then those who are promoting it are going to keep it in their pocket. It'll be totally illegal and totally underground and totally unsafe. But it'll still happen. It will still happen.
Can I just add?
What doesn't make sense is the entertainment industry creates what 5.3 billion pounds for the economy every year.
The music that's the music industry on its low. The music industry is 5.2. The night time industry, the evening stuff is 66 million.
Yeah.
So
got me notes.
DJT come prepared. I mean, you know, the thing that I'm confused by all this. They're helping all the other areas like pubs, yeah. But what they are forgetting, if it does go underground, it will thrive massively more than it is now.
Of course it will.
Because going back to the early 90s when raving was raving, like for people like me and Wong Yu went out and done them proper raves, that's like a second home to us. And to get a gig as a DJ is going to be so much easier because there's no red tape to go through. There's no interviews to go through. You turn up, you play your set, and you go, and you get paid. So much. It is going to open opportunities.
There's nothing stopping you finding an abandoned warehouse and setting your own one up, and off you go. You know, bring your kit along.
That's what's going to happen, isn't it? This is exactly what's going to happen. I mean, yes,
I think
the law will enforce it as much as they can. But they will never be able to. They'll never be able to like clamp down on everything that's going on.
Or you find
the young generation have to have an outlet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll be raving in the middle of a field again, in a muddy field, you know, and you'll find out literally. By
baby. but that's how it used to be done. You could only go if you knew someone.
Yeah,
you couldn't just turn up.
No.
Yeah, and then you'd receive a text message and off you go.
Yeah.
And it'd be like an hour before the event starts, and you might have to drive like 30 miles for that. I don't think this is kind of a bit. I don't think that's a bad thing because the rave scene's done and it's gone. It's more of a wine bar, you know. Oh, let's take a photo and stand there with your phone and take videos of the DJ playing. What are these people? What are these people doing?
But effectively, the downside to this sort of underground thing that's will be forthcoming is like the safety issues. I mean, like, you're not going to have it like the fire risk and all that, and the danger to people. But you had that back in the 90s, and it was never really a problem anyway. I mean, you had no more incidents there than you did in a public sector as such.
Well, even if we get the pandemic under control, I think people will start doing this kind of thing on their own anyway, because you'll have half to 3/4 or the majority of clubs gone. So where the people are going to go around the country? So they're going to start their own parties up. Even put aside the social distancing of the pandemic. Yeah. I mean, if it's done while the pandemic's on, there's probably
little places, you know.
I mean, it's going to be a bit silly in terms of when a pandemic is on, because obviously people can't social distance. But even if your illegal raves have the system that Envy's obviously highlighted, in terms of one thing I did notice as well, you go through the spray system twice. You go through,
and you do have to turn as well. I will add that you do have to turn. But do you know what though? I think if the government don't do something, like we say, it's going to go back underground. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. That's from my personal point of view. I think it could be a good thing for dance music and for proper ravers, not the people who go out in the white shoes and the white jeans and the stupidly dressed up. It'll go back to how it used to be. The rain dance days, United Dance. It'd go back to them days when it was just so much better.
Just about having a good time, raving your socks off, and playing some good music.
It weren't about, you know, what shoes you're wearing or what you know, what shirt you got on. It weren't about that. It was about the music, and it was about going out and having the best time. And people would be excited about the weekend. Now it's all about, oh, look at me, I'm wearing I don't even know what expensive clothes are. What's an expensive shirt? But you know, but now it's about what you look like, what shoes you got on,
you've got Gucci, you've got all them types of brands, you know.
They're expensive, you know. They're not cheap. I'll be honest with you.
No.
And I would love raving to go back to how it used to be. I would. I would probably go out. I would actually probably go out more. I don't go out.
I think if it went back to how it was, I think you'll have like a good, at least 1/3 of the population going out to enjoy it, minimum.
And do you know what? I think there'd be less trouble as well.
Yeah.
At illegal raves, because
it depends. That depends on what's going at the time.
Well, if you let me finish, because at an illegal rave you do have doormen. That's always been there. Now, if you're naughty, back in the day, if you were doing something you shouldn't have been, you get a proper slap off a doorman. Yeah. And sent on your way. But that's how it was. And
it's wrong, but it was at zero time. You didn't have the problems that you do nowadays in a regulated club.
Well, in a regulated club, they're governed by the law, aren't they? So they have to be a bit more.
What I'm saying is, we have more trouble now, or you did have when they was open, than you did back
than we ever had. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, it was about enjoying yourself and not all the stuff that they're all about now.
No.
I think, for me, I think if we could get clubs back open, that'd be great. Yeah. Ideally, we don't want it to go back underground, do we, and be illegal raves because you're going to get shut down. There's all those sort of problems.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to every scene, isn't there? As you move through from the rave scene to being more sort of underground clubs, and obviously then you got your super clubs where obviously you get £10,000 waitress service and all that kind of stuff. And I would hope it's a bit of a reset, that DJs can work again, the staff and the workforce can get back to doing their jobs again, and it just becomes more music centered and a coming together of a community rather than just, well, we're in it to make money or we're in it to make us look good on Instagram. It's not
that, to me, that ain't DJing. To me is about the music. And you speak to any DJ, every DJ will say it's about the music, it's not about the money. Because you wouldn't start doing it if you wanted to earn big money, would you? You train as a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. You don't become a DJ for the money. You become a DJ because you love what you love it.
A proper DJ goes into it because he has passion for music.
Yeah, you know? Simple as that.
It's not about the pound sign.
No, because if that was the case, unless you're a superstar DJ, you ain't getting paid big bucks, are you?
There was an article again. Envy linked us about some of the some people within the industry. Goldie, Fatboy Slim, Black Madonna. Black Madonna was one of them, and was one point
there was about 6 of them.
Yeah, I can't remember everybody who was in it, but one thing that did come out is that the majority of DJs already have a day job. They already have a second job. They're DJing in their spare time or their part time. Not every single DJ is out there earning a living. There's very, very few that actually do and can actually sustain it for a career. The majority of DJs have another income. So to get retrained and one sweeping statement is a little bit taking the rug out underneath people's feet, is where you don't know the full facts that most of us are doing this in our additional time. It's not what we do for the main part of our living. It just doesn't understand.
So back in the day when I used to do, I used to do paid gigs and stuff, and I did have another job, and I used to do that weekends. I used to DJ in Enfield in North London quite a lot, and get paid, but it weren't a living wage.
No,
it wasn't. You know, I mean, back then I would probably get paid. So I'd done a 3-hour set most weekends, and I'd probably walk out there with about £120. You can't do that once a week and live.
Nope.
You can't do it. And you know, people forget. So if you're a full-time DJ, you do have expenses. Let's not You know, let's not get away with the thing that DJs don't have expenses. They do. Headphones. You've got to have good quality headphones. Now, to start with, if they break, a decent pair is 100 and for the top end, 180 quid, £200
You took
for a set of headphones.
Your gig money's gone, then, isn't it? Your weekend's gig money's gone.
You've got your DJ pools, which was in a podcast before this, which is already out. You know, like I said in that one, I'm paying $50 a month. DJT's paying $20 a month.
Yep.
You know, and then there is cost to this. You know, getting to gigs, making sure you've got everything. You've got the latest music. You have to have that.
Well, it goes further than that. If you want to be unique, then it's your DAW software, so you can end up editing your mixes or your tracks, I should say, so you can make a unique mix. So your track's going to stand out from others, or you're making your own tracks. It just doesn't stop there. There's other things you have to do nowadays.
Yeah, of course.
To become the DJ or the DJ producer, the line blurs, but that's the whole point. It's an industry.
Yeah,
even from a simple thing as what I've done with a green screen. You know, that's money I had to invest. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge amount of money, granted, but to make me stand out from the rest of the station, because basically that's what I've done, isn't it? I'm unique at the moment. You know, I've got a green screen just to stand out a little bit more, to make it a bit more entertaining, and that all comes at a cost. You know, it all adds up. And if DJing was your only job, then you're pretty much screwed, aren't you?
What we'll do is we'll leave links below for the stuff we've been talking about, and we've even signed a petition in the last couple of weeks. I don't know whether the petition is still going up at the time this podcast goes out live. If it is, I'll link it. We'll link it below, so you can follow all the links that we've been talking about in terms of Slipmatt's video. What else we got? The article,
petition.
The article and the petition. So we'll leave those below, so you can, if you've got the time and it's something that you love doing, and this is who you are, you class yourself as a DJ, then you need to get behind this kind of movement, so we don't lose out. We've got to keep fighting.
Yes, yeah, definitely, 100%. I think the biggest thing is pressure here, isn't it? If we can put the pressure on the government, we can get out gigging. Simple as that. I guarantee you there will be.
It's going to be very hard.
I guarantee there'll be loads of house parties going on once they lift the rule of 6, and DJs will get opportunities to do private gigs like that. I think that will be the next step, because I honestly don't believe clubs are going to open. I don't think the government are going to go, because it's going to have to be government approved, all this technology with a spray and all that, isn't it?
But if it can't persuade,
the thing is, the government want all the clubs closed because it's targeting like the young generation. They don't mind having the pubs open because these people visit the pubs, but the government they won't visit the clubs because it's a not scene. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why they're so opposed to it.
Well, I'll tell you, I linked some videos this afternoon when we know we're going to do this podcast. I don't know if you've seen them, but basically, obviously, they're showing basically people that chucking out time at 10 o'clock around the country.
Yeah.
The thing is that in Wales, they're doing it slightly differently. They're doing staggered closing times. They're doing the fact that your bargain booze, your off license are closed at 10 o'clock, so you can't go and get some more alcohol. They're doing it in such a way it seems to be working. I'm not saying that it's a good or bad 10 o'clock. That's a different podcast altogether. But however they manage it, as long as it's managed correctly, there's every which way we can actually go into a club and you can be dancing next to somebody, raving like a lunatic, and be safe at the same time. And that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
But this is where if they implicated the technology that Slipmatt was talking about, that would be perfect, because then you could say, well, clubs could open, but we won't stay open till 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning anymore. But we'll stay open till 2 in the morning.
Think about it. If you go to any pub, any bar, any restaurant, they can implement this straight away, and you don't have to social distance.
Yeah.
Anywhere there's social distancing that's obviously losing money, you can implement this system. I've no idea in terms of the running costs, but I'm sure it'll be the more people use it, the more likely it will be cheaper, and therefore everyone wins. You go into a place and you don't know. The thing is, you can be in any queue, you can be at any time, and you don't know whether somebody's got it behind you or not. You start in front of you, you don't know.
No.
But if you've been tested and you've got a test that's negative, you've been sprayed twice as well when you've gone through and had your temperature checked. What is the risk factor then? How big is that risk factor? It's got to be tiny, isn't it?
It's got to be zero. Surely it's got to be zero.
Well, it's like 0.0001, isn't it? Like,
And this would solve a lot of problems, not just for the nightclub industry or the nightlife industry, for schools, for businesses, for everything. Let's be honest. I mean, the most guilty, in my opinion, the most guilty people in all this pandemic are the government, because there was an article I was reading earlier. Apparently, if all this don't stop and we don't have these big gatherings in the street, because there was a T-linked to video where in Manchester and Liverpool and London, they're playing cricket in the street in some places. It's incredible. It is just absolutely ridiculous. And I think if they implicated these things, then all that would stop, and it would slow the spread because people will have somewhere to go.
Yeah,
simple as that.
At the same time, they're getting sabotaged with it.
Well, think about it. This could be revolutionary. I mean, think about it. Airports everywhere, every form of travel, anywhere you go to meet, anywhere where you got masses of people or people tend to be closer, you can put this in place, and then it can stay forever. Because what's the biggest downside of it? You're going to have to turn. There will be positive people going. We know that statistically there will be. So long as they're managed correctly and therefore minimum effect to anyone else they've come in contact with, you're good.
Well, if you keep your 2 meters distance when you're queuing, you go through the spray, and I would assume, I mean, Slipmatt didn't go into too much detail with how it would work with queuing and things like that. But what they did say is, if you get found with a positive test, I'm assuming you're out the door.
Yeah, out the door.
Simple as that.
But they've got the swab, they've got an armband, and I guess obviously the government will be alerted that you're positive. Yeah. So then you have to go self-isolate. So you actually picking up people straight away, and they're being flagged up to the government or the local council, and you're going to have to self-isolate.
But do you know the biggest thing about these fast tests for me is at the moment you order a test online, don't you? It gets posted to you. You send it back. You could wait 4 days for it. 5 days.
You could be negative but positive in between, couldn't you? I mean,
Yep. No, but it could be, because you don't have to self-isolate until you actually have a positive test or symptoms. And as me and you spoke about earlier, T, symptoms, people are getting confused with what's what, aren't they? Was it yesterday I spoke to you, or today?
Yesterday.
Can't remember.
Yesterday.
Yeah, people getting confused between a phlegmy cough and a runny nose and thinking they got COVID. Well, no, you haven't, because what you have got is a cold. And there's a lot of people out there, and they just panic, and then they're ordering tests, and then that backlogs the system, doesn't it?
People who don't need tests. I've had emails and texts from school, very specifically from Public England Health, saying, please do not order a test unless you think you got one of the symptoms, because there's a lot of people ordering tests who have no symptoms, and it's blocking up the system massively. Yeah,
but this is human nature, though, isn't it? Look after yourself, Joe.
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem. I think, with these less than 3 minutes for a result. I mean, Slipmatt, he's really onto something here. He really is.
Yeah.
So maybe that might be the way forward. They have a testing centre where you go down and get a 3-minute test.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, you've got there's some places it's not going to be practical if you're going to say in and out of shops, but you could just have the desanitizer, and you could have your temperature checked. You don't have to have the actual test. You could have the test. Each shop could do their own thing, but you could have it standard everywhere. Because with the moment, as soon as we had lockdown, then people were putting investments into their shops in terms of basically put plastic or booths up and segregation booths to the side. Make it.
Do they really work?
Well, you have this one thing. You go in, and if you're in a place, and if you've been tested and sprayed twice and everything like that, had your temperature tested, there's no need for all that, because you just go as normal.
Yep,
it makes a massive difference. Massive difference. I think it's revolutionary. I do.
I don't know where Slipmatt found this, but the guy's a legend for finding it. Truly is.
Well, yeah. But see the cost of all this. All right, I mean, I know the initial setup is going to be like a little bit of a cost, but once it's set up, it's surely it's going to be no more cost than just going to get your tests anyway, is it?
Well, I'll give you an example.
General.
If I went to a supermarket and that supermarket had it in place, I'd feel safer going to that supermarket or that facility, knowing that that's in place, than one that didn't have it. Where I'm going to choose, where am I going to go? I'm going to choose the safest option possible, aren't you?
I will be honest though, to put it in all shops would not be feasible.
No,
not because of financial. You won't be able to have it. You know, I've got a little shop just up the road from me. You won't be able to have it there. You know, you won't be able to have it at DJ Wongy's local offie. It just wouldn't be feasible.
Those have to be shops. I mean, but your bigger places where people meet could be shops, could be supermarkets, could be your general stores. It wouldn't be your local store. I mean, my local store, they've got obviously the perspex and everything up. What they do is an operated 1 in 1 out system. So you're just in there with a member of staff, and you walk in, and when you walk out, the next person comes in, and you queue 2 meters outside the shop. So I'd rather go there and pay a few extra pence than go to somewhere where you walk in and you're having to squeeze past people in narrow aisles. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
No, definitely. So yeah, guys, like we said before, hopefully the video links will be below for Slipmatt's video that he posted on Facebook, and there will be all the other links that we spoke about down there as well. Thank you for listening to the Dance Party 247 podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell for next time we upload or go live. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
We are in the room. Welcome to the dance. Oh, welcome to the Dance Party 24/7 podcast. I'm the DJ T. We have DJ Envy and DJ Wongy. Today we are doing an additional podcast. The podcast that was due to go out this coming week, which is a couple of days' time from when you're seeing this one. Where we're recording this and when you'll see in a couple of days' time. This is in addition to that, because we had some breaking news as well as breaking plates in the background, because DJ Envy's missus is smashing them like she's in Greece.